What's going on, guys? Welcome to the new edition of the Daily Misfire. Well, I guess not new. Latest edition of the Daily Misfire for this week's Wednesday talk thingamajig that I still haven't figured out a name for yet. If you hear painting in the background, it's him. Not me. Huh. He's hiding. He was over here before, now he's hiding behind me. Here he is. That's my assistant bear. Hi, buddy. Hi. Good boy. He decided to hang out in the office today and to do video stuff. So if you're painting, it's him. Not me. Him. Random dog noises. Hi. But anyway, so what we're going to be talking about today is a little bit more fun than what we talked about last week, because I know we talked about electric cars and that nonsense that Hot Rod Magazine did, and even Ford actually did. A day after I posted that, Ford released their Illuminator crate motor and stuff like that, and nonsense. But we're not going to be talking about that today. What we're going to be talking about is the fun stuff. Or there's two different engines we're going to talk about, and that's the 632 Big Block Chevy and the 5.5 liter flat plane V8 that Chevrolet made this month and unveiled this month. So we're going to talk about those two today and what I hope ends up happening for those, what's already happened for at least the 632. And the 5.5 liter too, but mostly the 632. So before we jump into it, I'm going to talk about the 632 more, and just like the Big Block Chevy in general. So the Big Block Chevy's been around forever. It started out with the 396 back in the 60s, and they're kind of derived from the 409, 348 wedge motors back in the early 60s, late 50s, when that engine was designed. And the reason why they call them a wedge is because the plane on them is a little bit wider, so it kind of looks like a W. The way the engine was built, they're a lot wider than a conventional 350 small block Ford, small block Chevy, big block Chevy. And then when they made the small block Chevy, they basically made the big block Chevy after the fact, just basically the same, similar design, just a lot bigger. So they made the 396, then they went to a 427, then 454, which is the conventional ones that we've all known and loved forever. They came out with the 502. I'm not sure exactly when Chevrolet came out with the 502, but they have the ZZ502 crate motor. And then after that, there's been a lot of guys that have made, 632s, 7-somethings, high 600 cubic inch, and there's even 900 cubic inch big block Chevys now. I don't know if there's any 1,000 cubic inch, there probably is. I don't know of them off the top of my head, but really cool motors. You can make them huge. You can make really big ones, obviously. They make a ton of power. They're very strong. Guys that make, the billet blocks and stuff like that based off big block Chevys, can make 3,000-4,000 horsepower easy with them, with turbos and stuff like that. So the tried and true big block Chevy design is a known thing, but we haven't had a big block Chevy from Chevrolet as a crate motor in a long time that's this big. Actually, we've never had one that's over 600 cubic inches. So it's awesome that Chevrolet decided, in this world of EV and all this stuff, to unveil a 632 big block Chevy crate motor that just happens to make 1,000 horsepower. We'll just throw it out there and make 1,000 horsepower. Good job, Chevrolet. You redeemed yourself from some of the electric car stuff. But the cool part about that is that it is a big block Chevy that has a warranty, and it's less than 30 grand, which I know that's a lot of money, but for 1,000 horsepower, that really isn't, especially when it's NA. Honestly, with that engine, you could plug it into a bracket car and go run, depending on what your car is, 890, 790, 760, whatever index. There's a lot of index classes you could run with an engine that size, and you'd be competitive. And with the warranty and stuff on it, you can just run that forever and it'd be fine. I think it even says that it's a pump gas engine, so you could run it on 95 even in a race application, and it lasts a long time. I think it's a fuel injected system. It has like a Victor, like a GM version of like a Super Victor, I think, on it. But it looks really cool. I'm not a fan of the valve covers, but I'm not a late model engine valve cover guy. But besides, I mean, the little stuff that you can obviously change, the thing's super cool. So that's definitely a really cool option that they've given hot rodders and stuff alike. I know Hoonigan, there's a fly on my coffee. Coffee cup, not my coffee itself. I know Hoonigan already put one in a Camaro, which is sick. So if you're gonna watch anyone outside of like mainstream people, like if you're gonna not watch Roadkill or any of that anymore, or any Hot Rod magazine, I would recommend like Hoonigan. Like their garage stuff is cool. They're a little mainstream to me too, but you know, Vice Grip Garage, he needs a 632 Big Block Chevy. I know Finnegan's Garage, he should get one. That'd be cool. Put in Blasphemy. I know it's supposed to be a Hemi, but I mean, 1,000 horsepower is 1,000 horsepower. And what if you put a 671 blower on it? You always liked two-lane blacktop. It had a 454 in it. It'd be the same thing. It looked the same. I'm just saying. But yeah, so it's super cool that they're doing that. I hope there's a lot of builds with that engine, and especially in a drag racing application. It's literally a perfect engine for it. I mean, it's pump gas. You can shift it super easy. I mean, it'll last forever. I mean, very low maintenance on that engine because I don't think it's high compression either. So, very good overall build for an idea for Chevrolet. And definitely, honestly, if you're trying to make a high-end car like that, it's actually a pretty good budget motor too. Because I know you can drop 10, 20, 30 grand on an engine pretty easily when you're trying to make NA horsepower. So that's really cool that they did. And then the other engine that we're going to talk about after that is the 5.5 liter flat plane V8 that they made for the Z06 Corvette. New Z06, I think coming out in 2023, I think is the official release date of it. But it is a 5.5 liter flat plane V8, which I think is based off their 5.4 liter that they have in the C8R, which is the race version of the Corvette, the Corvette race team's car, which they went to Le Mans, and they've won a whole bunch of stuff throughout the United States, like Sebring and Daytona, and a whole bunch of races like that, like 24 hours and endurance races like that. They've won a lot. Which is extremely cool for the first year they've actually had this design, because I mean, and I think they even finished third or fourth in at Le Mans, which for guys that pay attention to that, I mean, that's a big deal. First year a new body style is out, because I mean, normally you can't, you know, you can't hit water and fall out of the boat most of the years when you first start a new chassis design like that. So for them to be that competitive out of the box is very cool. But getting back to the engine, that engine makes 600, I think it's 680 at over 8,000 RPM. I think it's like 8,400. So if you haven't heard a flat plane V8, I mean, you should look it up. That engine sounds like a Ferrari, like one of the Ferrari flat planes is what it sounds like. But it's almost 2 liters bigger than any Ferrari flat plane V8 that they have, really. There's a couple I think that are about the same, like 5 liter-ish size. But a lot of the Ferrari engines are like 3.9 liters. So for this one to be 5.5, it's almost 2 liters bigger. And it makes, you know, I think 180 more horsepower than a lot of those Ferrari engines make. And I think it makes like 480 pound-feet. So I mean, which we don't care about pound torque and stuff for this engine. But it's just super cool that they decided to do this. And honestly, it's kind of a kick in the shorts for a lot of companies like Ford, which has been trying to design the flat plane V8 crank stuff, like in the Voodoo motors and stuff like that, the dual overhead cam engines and stuff like that for a long time in their Mustangs and stuff. So for Chevrolet to basically, I don't know how long they've been designing this. I don't know how long they've been in the works of building one of these. I know the ZL1, I think, back in the 90s had a flat dual overhead cam engine, but it wasn't a purpose-built, like, designed thing for it, and there weren't that many of them. It wasn't very successful. But this one seems to be successful. I mean, I think they figured it out with this engine. So it'll be really cool to see what they end up doing with that. And I hope at some point, I think they're calling it the LT6. So I hope at some point we can actually see some LT6 swaps out there in the world. I personally would like to see, like, you know, them throw that electric motor out of Project X and put that flat plane V8 crank in it. Easy, buddy. Easy. If you hear barking, it's because there's dogs barking outside. Oh, stop. You're okay. You're okay. But, stop. You're fine. You're fine. But, so that's kind of where I'm at as far as that goes. Why? You're okay. Pause tense. And we're back. He's over his growling fit. But yeah, so I think... Hi. But yeah, I think it's a really cool design that they did. I hope people like Hot Rod Magazine are getting a couple of crate motors of this design, and they can end up building some cool cars out of it. The other thing that I think would be really cool, that I'm sure we're going to see, and I hope that we see in the next, after the 2023, I hope in the next couple years after that, is someone buying a C8 Z06 Corvette and basically pulling that body off of it and putting like a 63 Corvette on it, or a 70 Camaro on it. So then you get that mid-engined flat plane crank V8 that makes 700 horsepower almost in high revving application, to where it handles like a mid-engine Corvette does, but it's gonna be lighter because that body is gonna be lighter. Even the 70 Camaros are a lot lighter than the new cars, just because they're all sheet metal. There's no grimble zones and all that stuff in them. So, and I mean, build a full frame or full roll cage and stuff in it, and you can build a high-end hot rod drag car or autocross car, or road racing car. I mean, that thing would hook and book. So, but I digress, because that's all stuff down the road, and I'll never be able to do any of that. So I hope someone watching has the money to be able... Money. I'm Italian now. Has the money to be able to buy both cars that I'm thinking of. So here's your plan. Person that has like millions of dollars out there in the world. 2023 rolls out. You buy a Z06 Corvette. You drive it a little bit, because you need to, check to make sure the suspension works and make sure you don't have to send it back and warranty something from Corvette or Chevrolet. Then, you go buy, like, I'm going to say a 70 Camaro. Go buy a 70 Camaro. Or not. You don't have to buy a 70, but like that body style, the split bumper or full bumper Camaros. You buy one of those. Body. Sandwich. You can put a roll cage in there if you want, or if you just want a hot rod car that handles really well. I'm just saying, you'd have a very good handling car, and you probably have a one-of-one car that could be $1 million car because of what it is. I'm just saying. Something to think about for you millionaires out there that watch this. Because I feel like there would be a millionaire that watches this that goes, that's a good idea. I like your thinking. If you think that, high five. Okay. Well, I think that's enough of this. I have some stuff to do, and I have a few other things I need to talk about later. Probably next week. So, check back in next week, because we got some cool update plans that involve a thing that looks like this. And some other cool news that we're probably going to be doing a lot of this month of November, and probably into December, and maybe even into the new year. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to see my partner in crime that growls at birds in outside the window, comment down below. Until then, see you guys later. Peace.